Hey there, you're watching and or listening to North of Weatherfield, the Canadian Coronation Street podcast.
And this week we are talking about episodes that aired in Canada from April 8th to April 12th.
So what do you do if you haven't seen that stuff yet, those episodes?
Well, if you're away doing something fun and you don't feel like catching up on your PVR, you just want to trash it all, then listen to this now. If you're going to catch up, don't listen to this now.
Okay.
Because we're going to be talking about everything that happened.
That's right. So if you don't want to get any spoilers, then avert your eyes and or ears as well. My name is Brittlestar.
My name's Shannon.
These aren't our real names, of course. Our real names are...
Well, I'm going to be Eileen because, listen, someone has to get everything done. And no one's telling Violet anything. Dylan's just floating. And is Sean even looking for a new flat? I don't think so.
That's pretty good. I'm going to be, you say his name because Yasmin says it's horrible.
Stu? We should plan ahead, and next time I can be very intensively looking at you.
You've got to go down. I'd have to get you. So yeah, that's my stew. It's pretty good.
And now I think it's time for the opening theme song.
Oh yeah, let's play the theme. I should say, of course, that this week we have our eldest son, Owen, is manning the controls and producing the episode, and that may have been a mistake.
He apparently has buttons that we don't have. All right, this week we are going to be talking. We are going to be talking about Linda, Gemma, Chesney, and Joseph, Nick and Leanne, Dom and Eliza, Steve, Tracy, Tommy O, and Amy, Dylan, Sean, and Violet, Roy, and Max.
Yeah, these are all good topics.
Thank you.
Give us the rundown, Shannon. What are we talking about first?
So first, we're going to talk about Linda, Gemma, Chesney, and Joseph.
Okay.
So much like the fate of her character, and the same with my title about who we're talking about, no one thinks about Izzy.
No one thinks about Izzy.
Because Izzy is, of course, also Linda's daughter.
Yeah.
And Izzy's son, Jake, is also Linda's grandson.
Yeah.
And so Izzy was chewing out Linda in the pub saying, don't you remember you have another kid? You know who would also like to go to Oak Hill? Like you're trying to get...
What's his face?
What's his face? I was also thinking, like, does Jake even go and see Izzy anymore? Like he's just living full time with Gary and Maria now.
Is that who Jake is?
Yes.
Oh, I put that together.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Showing off you remember his name and then you don't even remember who he's related to. Yeah. So she says, listen, if you're going to be sending Liam to Oak Hill, sending Joseph to Oak Hill,
then
maybe you should be sending your other grandson, Jake.
Yeah. And
Linda's like, don't be so ridiculous. It's not the same thing. And then Gemma, who's already trying to talk Joseph out of going to Oak Hill, says that she'll have to send the Quad Squad as well.
The Quad Squad.
Which is a nickname group that she is trying to get everyone to take on, and no one else is taking it on.
And I say this repeatedly. Listen, Gemma, you had your chance. You had the quads. You had all those endorsement deals, and you get all freaked out because you saw yourself on the side of a bus.
Well, maybe she should have branded them. She didn't brand them the Quad Squad then. Maybe that would have made her feel more in charge.
They're still young and they're still cute.
So then Glenda pointed out to Gemma that it seems that Gemma's issue is Gemma is a snob.
Like a reverse snob. Almost.
Yes, a working class snob. She's snobbish against the elites, the wealthier people.
Yeah.
And Gemma is horrified by this because she views herself as not judgmental at all. Is Gemma not judgmental?
Gemma's pretty judgmental.
She's very judgmental.
Yeah, of course she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we like about her.
Yeah, exactly. What I like about Gemma the best, though, is that foundation line that rides right on the chin.
It is
she's just
sharp.
Tanned, oranged.
Yeah.
And then there's a line.
Yeah.
Around
But, I mean, by doing that solid line, she never has any makeup on her collar.
That's true. I think we could all learn something from Gemma.
Exactly. So anyways, this makes Gemma rethink her position, and she decides that maybe they should go to the open house at Oak Hill and see what they think. And Joseph goes. Linda makes him put on the suit instead of having his like sort of nicest tracksuit on, this is where you need someone like Linda, who's like, yes, that is his nicest outfit, but that's not the outfit you wear to something like this.
Yeah, and I felt it was weird because she said, go put your suit on. I was like, is that not trying too hard? But I don't know English schools. Maybe it's not trying too hard.
I think probably not. Yeah. Anyways, they come back and Joseph's quite keen, but he's a little bit stressed, and he says he's worried about the entrance exam. And Linda's like, don't worry, I'll pay for the tutor for it.
Yeah.
So do we think that was the only thing stressing Joseph out?
Well, I think that the fact that everyone's forgotten he has Lyme disease is probably stressing him out a little bit. He was like, guys, I was almost dead. And now we're just kind of moving on from that.
Listen, Gemma and Chesney obviously got a new teapot because it was in every...
You've mentioned this, and I don't even recall the teapot. What did the teapot look like?
It's like sort of like spring pastel-y colors, polka dots.
Just a regular teapot?
Well, yes, but they're now bringing their cups out from the kitchen to pour the tea at the table. That's new.
Things move at breakneck speed on the street sometimes.
All right, moving on. Nick and Leanne.
Yeah.
So Debbie was telling Leanne that there's going to be a bridal show in the hotel at the same time as a seminar that Simon was going to.
Yeah.
Which we think is part of Simon's therapy type thing. But we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
And says to Leanne, you're now engaged. You should go to this. Because Debbie's trying to, as part of this, sell, events at the hotel.
Sure.
So Leanne nags Nick into going.
Yeah.
And, just for like a total change. So Nick shows up at the bridal fair and he's all happy and excited.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. He's grumpy as always.
He's dreading it.
He's grumpy about everything.
He is. He's doing this screw up face thing he does.
Yeah.
When he's happy, this is him happy. And then when he's sad, this is when he's angry.
But then it has a bit of a...
Yeah.
Yes, he's a bit of a groaner. So they come out from it. Leanne really enjoyed it. Debbie is trying to lock them down on a date, booking for their wedding, and this is just making Nick even grumpier.
Yeah.
And eventually Leanne is like, obviously he's not enjoying this. I need a break. So she goes off to the washrooms, comes back looking like she's been a bit teary.
Yeah.
And Nick's like, what are you so upset about? And she's like, I'm not upset. I'm fine. And Debbie goes off to get them all a drink. And Nick says to Leanne, do you not want to marry me? And he says, I don't think I want to marry you yet.
Which is a kick in the pants. That's rough. That's not even a kick in the pants. It's the other side. It's kick in the ghoulies is what it is. It's the other side. Because they moved to Canada together. They've been together for decades. Yet, what do you mean yet? Yet what?
I mean, I feel they've been married at least once, maybe twice.
Plus, also, before we go further, let's pause to note the size of the mugs that Debbie brought
when she comes back after that.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Nick wisely leaves at that point.
It was like a pasta pot full of coffee.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the urn.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Debbie comes back with the coffees. There's now only two of them.
That's her setting down one cup.
And she's a very small woman to carry that many full cups of full vats of
wiry.
Coffee. Leanne passes one off to the guy at the table next to them. And then anyways, Debbie can tell Leanne's upset. They're talking for a bit. Turns out this guy at the next table is Rowan.
Yes.
Who is the guy who is leading Simon's group.
Sketch.
Yeah, I think he is.
I think he's Sketch.
But anyways, he was introduced by name, so obviously he's going to be around for a while.
A little bit of an arc.
Yes. Anyway. Gives Leanne lots of advice.
Yeah.
Based on what he's heard and then talking to her. Is it good advice? We don't know, but it's what she wanted to hear.
No, because it was all psychobabble. It was all like algorithms and Blucherblurks and stuff.
But it did resonate.
Yeah, the captions deal with Blucherblurks.
it did resonate with her though.
Well, yeah.
She was saying at one point, I'm always worried about other people. Is anybody worried about me?
which is a fair question.
Which is a fair
Which is a
question.
fair question.
Yeah.
However, the type of delivery he had was in keeping with a cult.
It suggested that he actually isn't interested in how she's doing. He just would like.
He was just saying stuff that
Yes.
could be interpreted by the receiver as meaningful.
Yes. Yes. So anyways, Leanne takes this to heart. Seems to be good for her,
Yeah.
what she's hearing.
Yeah.
Goes back home. She and Nick sort of sort things out a bit, and they realize they do want to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Take a bit of a breath, think about things, but they do want
Sure.
to be together. But meantime, Leanne has decided that she will be going with Simon to his next meeting.
Yeah.
So what are these meetings?
Well, I know, because wasn't that part of his whole sentence is that he had to go get sort of support group or something?
That was my understanding. It wasn't just like
for the drunk driving. Plus, we've also, just like the Lyme disease, we've totally forgotten the fact that Simon had a serious drinking problem.
Yeah.
Got into an accident while driving drunk.
with his
Almost
little
killed
brother.
little Sam,
Yeah.
a chess prodigy. And then we've just kind of like, oh, he's going to these meetings at a hotel. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Like I would think if the court or like it would probably be mandated as opposed
You'd
to
think so.
as opposed to Simon going, no, I'll find something that's
Yeah.
suitable, and then going, okay, right on you go.
Yeah. Questionable.
Doesn't seem like an AA type thing.
No.
Also, though, whatever it is, Simon has expressed no interest in drinking a drop of alcohol.
It's
So
working.
yeah,
Whatever it
Good
is,
on
it's
you.
working.
um,
That's what I was going to say. I made up a joke. I should say I did the joke about the cult. I think he's joining Simontology,
thanks for that.
the Church of Simontology.
Thanks for that. That was good.
If I spell it out longer than that, is it good?
No.
Don't give me an Amy face.
Well, don't earn one. All right, Dom and Eliza. So Stu and Dom are together, and Stu says to Dom, "Listen, Dom," because he's realizing he shouldn't have encouraged Dom to abandon Eliza.
Stu so much.
I'm saying it normally now.
I know, but it just as someone named Stuart, it's too much.
And he says, "Okay, Dom, what's your ideal?" And Dom says, "Well, I mean, ideally, I'd have Eliza coming to live with me in Germany, but you'll never let that happen." And Stu says,
Whoopah! I will. Yeah. Calls his bluff.
and Dom panics.
Yeah.
But then he sort of goes, "Okay, I still haven't told my family in Germany about Eliza."
Red flag.
Like so many red flags.
Big red flag. What's German for red flag?
Well, rot is red. I can't think of a flag. I'll think of it though.
Roten Flaggen.
But as we said before, Dom is, I don't know, 40 odd.
Yeah.
You meet a man who's 30, late 30s, early 40s.
You wouldn't be shocked if he had a kid. You'd be like, yeah, that adds up.
Yeah, I think the odds of him having been married before and or having
Exactly.
a
You're
kid
not
or
gonna-
5.
You're not going to be shocked at that.
No.
Yeah.
No. And then he already had one chance and he still didn't tell his family.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Eliza is keen on this idea.
Yeah.
She's starting to learn German. Maybe she remembers the word for flag offhand.
Roten Flaggen.
And Dom says he's told his family.
Mm-hmm.
They're all good with this. Now, we don't know how old his son is. I
No,
have
but
no idea if he's a preschooler.
He's not an infant, but I think he's probably like 6 or 7. That's my
Right.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on nothing, though.
Just based on context clues.
Okay. All right.
I'm a good reader of people.
Yeah, that's what we always say. So it's decided that Eliza's going to go over there at Easter. If it all goes well,
Right.
Stu is going to pay for her to go to an international school
Because he's loaded.
because he has that settlement money.
Right.
So that, Eliza doesn't need to suddenly learn how to start doing physics in German.
Probably good.
I think people sort of think, well, you can learn to speak German. Yeah,
Well,
but
sure,
they already
it's
know how to
just
speak German.
reading.
They're trying to do the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, I say sure. Sure. If it's just reading German. Easy peasy.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. Thoughts? Is this gonna...
I think we're going to see a little bit of an arc. I think that Dom's a good guy. I think he's okay. I think that it's not his fault that the writers.
Am I half out of the screen?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
That's just a little portion of the screen.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
But I think that, hang on, just go a little further that way. That's good. But I think that he's a good guy. It's not his fault that the writers wrote in that he didn't tell his family. I think Dom, as a person, would have told his family.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You think he's a bad guy?
I think it's just easier not to. Why would
What's
he
going
bother?
to happen, do you think? Do you think that Eliza's going to go over and is going to go pear-shaped?
No. I think he has told them now. Maybe.
You think he's going to have Eliza over and he's going to be like, hey, we got to stay at this hotel for a little bit.
I don't know. I don't trust him.
Well, they're definitely not going to do any on location filming, so
So we'll never know.
we'll never know.
Yes,
Yeah.
they could have
Good luck,
stayed at
Eliza.
a great place.
Alfreda's in.
All right. Steve, Tracy, Tommy O, and Amy. So
Here's Steve.
Steve has told Amy about Tommy going to Spain because Tommy hasn't told Tracy yet. And Amy convinces him because Steve is looking forward to really like hurting Tracy's feelings with this.
Sure. He wants his revenge.
Yes. And Amy's like, listen, she's still my mom.
Yeah.
She's still the mother of your child, me.
Yeah.
Let me tell her. Let me break it to her. And Steve says, okay, that's probably a good thing. And then about 14 seconds later, he gets annoyed with Tracy and just blurts out, Tommy's leaving you and moving to Spain.
But does it in a pretty great manner.
Well, it's very Steve.
Like just shouting at her in the Rovers, which is great.
So this is obviously news to Tracy. But she, as always, just bluffs her way through everything. And she's like, listen, I never said that Tommy and I were forever.
Yeah.
This was never supposed to be a long-term thing. And then Steve gets his hopes up and he's like, oh,
Steve,
you're not going to be with Tommy forever? You never planned that?
No.
And Tracy's like, Steve, it's never happening.
Plus, the damage is done.
The damage is done. Plus, Tracy has no desire to undo the damage.
Let's not get into the details.
So Tracy then, when she sees Tommy later that day, she's all putting him at more than arm's length.
Arm's length. Yeah.
And she's like, were you not going to ever tell me
about
till you're on your way to the airport?
Yeah.
So Tommy seemed a bit hurt by this.
Yes.
I mean, my impression was he would have wanted to still continue a relationship with Tracy.
No.
However, when was he going to tell her?
Never. He was going to tell her at the airport or when he was in Spain already. And plus, all it takes is 2 hours from Weatherfield and you're out of life forever for people.
Plus, it seems like it was out on whatever the blogs are. It was out on the blogs
Yeah, but
that Tommy was
just
moving.
soccer, football related stuff. So they're not necessarily would be mainstream.
So no girls would read it to tell Tracy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think he's just never been rejected before. I think that's the problem. Not the problem, but I think that's the issue is that he's never been rejected. He's done great in football. He's a good looking guy. As some people in the comments of this particular podcast will tell you, he's a good looking guy and they won't be hurt if he sticks around. Shameless. Was it you under pseudonym? And no one's ever rejected him. So to have someone go, no.
Right.
I think he doesn't know how to deal with that.
Right. So that's why he's.
No, I think he's gone to Spain and then he'll show up again in about 5 years and he'll kill somebody.
I'm still throwing out there the idea that who knows, Tracy could end up pregnant again.
How old is Tracy supposed to be?
I don't know, in her early 40s.
So it's possible.
But she was never supposed to be able to get pregnant. So Amy was so Amy was a surprise.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Throwing that out there. You never know. All right. Dylan, Sean, and Violet.
Who returned.
And
you said it's the original actor.
I'm pretty sure it's the original actor.
Okay.
Yeah. So Sean still hasn't told Violet about Dylan's upcoming trial. Dylan's like, that's okay. You don't need to tell her. And Eileen is like, yes, you do. She's his mother. And also she's your mother. You do want your mother to know and to be able to support you. And Eileen tells Sean, as Dylan's dad, it's your responsibility to tell her. You can't just pretend it's not happening and not involve her. So later on that day, Dylan comes in the room on his phone, right? Bye, love you, click. It was like a flip phone. I don't know. They have them again, so never know. It could be a flip phone.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who has one on the show? I think Carla has a flip phone.
Yeah, they've all got.
I think Bethany's got a flip
ones.
phone.
Yeah,
everyone's got a flip phone.
And then who are you talking to? And he said, I was talking to my mom, and I told her everything, and she's upset, but she's okay about everything. And they're like, that's so great. Is she coming to the trial tomorrow?
Yeah, what's that?
And he's like, nope, she's in Tenerife.
Right.
and she's not coming back,
Which is further away than London.
which is further away than London.
Can't even imagine.
No, there's no way. So they head off to the trial the next day. Dylan does plead guilty, but he does come. We do see him then coming out. He didn't get sentenced.
Yeah, luckily.
Yeah, so he lucked
Which
out
I
there.
thought was fair.
Yes, I think so too. I think
everyone realizes that he was party to the bullying, but he was in a position where he felt that his own safety was a concern.
Well, plus also pleading guilty is a big, like, there's a reason you get more leniency.
Drives me insane, but I get it.
Yeah. So anyways, they come back to the house, and Violet is there with Eileen.
Right there.
Because who let Violet know about it all?
Eileen,
because nobody else did. Violet was not in Tenerife.
I don't like how you're portraying Eileen as a tower of strength.
No, she's an exhausted. She, much like myself, is tired of hearing her own voice and having to repeat things over and over and no one listening to her.
The long-suffering hero.
She's not a hero. She's just every mother.
That's exactly what Eileen would say.
She is
not
every
a hero.
Mother.
Just every mother.
So Eileen chews Sean out and says, "You as the father should have been telling Violet.
Totally.
This shouldn't have been up to me."
I agree.
Violet is chewing Sean out and saying, "You need to be parenting better.
Yeah.
First of all, you should have told me about this, but also, what the hell?
Yeah.
Could have been going to jail.
Yeah.
There's a zombie knife found. Massive bullying.
Yeah.
Suspended from school.
Yeah.
I don't even think we talked about, maybe she doesn't even know about that bit yet. She's like, "I'm taking him back down to London with me."
Right.
And Sean's like, "Oh, no, don't do that." Dylan wasn't keen to go back down.
Yeah.
But was Sean trying to convince Dylan to stay? No. I think Sean was like, "This is easier."
Sean's like, "I've got plans this weekend."
Yeah. Sean is not
going down the precinct.
Is not generally a great parent.
He's well-meaning and he loves Dylan.
Yes, but
he's a bit useless.
He's only interested about 20% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, is he cooking Dylan dinner ever? Or is he just getting Eileen to do that?
Probably Eileen.
Yes.
Because she's a hero.
Well, because no one else is going to do it. So there they go. They go off, and interestingly, they're getting in a black cab to head off.
Well, because we've discussed this, because streetcars, they would never go. They're going to the train station. Manchester Piccadilly? Oh, it's too busy.
You don't think they can handle it?
No, for just a mini cab service that?
You think there'd be a good discount?
A good buddy discount.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe she's trying to teach them a lesson.
And then anyways, as soon as they head off, Eileen says to Sean, "Well, Sean, now you don't need to look for a flat anymore." Because
Sean's like, "This day is rolling."
So Sean has learned nothing.
No.
Got everything he wanted. Because I don't think Sean had looked at any other flats. And really, he just had to wait for now. Eileen's like, "Okay, well, I can't lose 2 rooms in the house who are paying tenants. So now I'll just lose 1. Now I've got..." So who's going to move into Dylan's room? What wafer stray is Eileen taking in this time?
I don't know. We're going to have to find out. Don't know. I can't even guess.
All right. And now the big story for this week was Roy.
I like the story.
So
it's building nicely.
It is. So Max gets Roy to agree to do another appeal for Lauren with the Gazette.
Right.
Carla and Nina try to talk him out of it because
it's a bad idea.
The first interview that came out got a few people reading it online going, "What's up with this Roy guy?
Yeah.
He seems a bit odd,
fair,
a bit suspicious."
Yeah.
Fair.
Sure.
And they convince Roy that he shouldn't be doing it, shouldn't do this appeal.
Yeah.
Meantime, the Gazette reporter shows up and Roy says, "No, I think I'll be a distraction if I do it. I don't think I should do this appeal. We've got the vigil coming up. I don't want to detract from that." And just as he's saying that, in comes D.S. Swain and a new copper who doesn't introduce himself.
No, he's a keeper.
We like him.
Yeah.
Listen, if they're going to take Tommy O away from us.
Was the other guy good looking too?
He was no Tommy O, but he was okay.
He was no Tommy O.
And they place him under arrest in front of the reporter.
Yeah.
And they bring him out, and Carla clatters out behind.
But I like that scene when she went. No, it was different. It was the scene where. We haven't got to that part yet, have we?
No, I can't remember where she was running away outside.
She was chasing people.
Anyways, gets put in the back of the cab, the police car.
Yeah.
Loads of people on the streets filming.
Yeah.
Where were these people when poor Adam shoved 2 young women to safety and threw himself in front of the car, smashed the windscreen, rolled over the roof, landed unconscious?
And in the background, some guy just like.
Nobody cared.
Oh,
yes,
God.
everyone kept moving. So Roy is arrested, brought to the station. Dee Dee is with him. Things aren't looking good. And so they've gone through the garbage that Roy had disposed of at Lauren's flat.
Yeah.
And nothing has his fingerprints on it except for a used condom wrapper.
Yeah.
Because Roy, of course, had found that after
at
he
the end, he saw it underneath the couch. But here's the problem I have with the fingerprints. No, the problem I have with that is that when he picked it up, he sort of picked it up because he didn't know what it was. So he picked it up gingerly. And then when he saw, he was just like index finger and thumb. And then when he saw what he was holding, he went, and dropped it in the garbage. So if he was using this, his hands would be all over it. Even if he was adept with his teeth, his hands would still be all over it.
So did they even look for anyone else's prints, is what you're saying?
Well, exactly.
Did you just think of that bit now?
I just realized that now. Why would they look for other people's prints?
They also found a broken chair, and Roy's like, yep, the chair was broken. I didn't think it was worth fixing. It was stained, so I got rid of it. And they're like, well, it's stained with Lauren's blood and body tissue. Yes, and also they found a stash of money under Lauren's mattress, and I think the envelope had Roy's prints on it, and Roy was like, yep, that was her last pay I gave her. And they're like, that was a lot. How much did she get paid? That was a lot of money. And he's like, oh, I gave her a bit extra. And they're like, why? And he's like, well, I fired her. So they're already like, okay, so you fired her and you gave her more money? And also this makes it seem unlikely that Lauren has fled.
Yeah.
Because she just left a whole bunch of cash there.
Yeah. The cash thing, initially I thought that maybe she had like killed her aggressor and taken off in a panic.
Right.
But she would have probably taken the money.
Yes. And also it was helping the police's case, not helping Roy's case. There were loads of texts and calls between the two of them.
Right.
So Roy was very lucky to get bail.
Yes. Yeah.
And he got out. Goes back to the cafe, and Carla and Nina are there. There's some man there eavesdropping, earwigging, as the Scots would say. They overhear about the police check-in, time for his interview the next day. Later on, last customer leaves the cafe, and there's these two different guys left there. And as soon as the last customer leaves, they go and lock the door.
Right.
And Roy turns around, and they're right up in his face.
Yeah.
And they say they're friends of Lauren's dad's.
Yeah.
Where the hell is Lauren?
Yeah.
Her dad wants to know enough of this nonsense. Nick comes by, tries to get in the cafe. It's locked. He says, Roy, knock, knock, knock. Roy drops a plate.
Yeah.
Nick hears this. Nick carries on.
Yeah.
And then luckily a few minutes later, Carla and Nick come in the back door.
Yeah. Which we didn't know existed.
Yeah. What's out there?
We don't know.
Are we going to find out?
Sinkhole.
Yes, it's probably. Yeah, the world's easiest fixed sinkhole. Which is a good thing, because I think they were boiling the big industrial kettle.
You thought that they were boiling the industrial kettle to like scald him or something?
Yeah.
I think they were doing that because they thought it would mask any noises.
I don't know. They looked like bad guys.
They didn't look as bad as I thought they were going to look, though. I thought that being
have
friends
to be
with
unassuming bad guys.
They were unassuming looking bad guys. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So Carla and Roy go to the police station, now late for the interview.
Right.
Explain why they're late. And D.S. Swain is like, this doesn't get you out of the murder investigation. However, we'll do that interview tomorrow, but for now, we want you to talk about this intimidation thing, and Carla to talk about it as well, to try to figure out. The same guy who was originally eavesdropping in the cafe was also in the police waiting room.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is. I think he's a social media website type guy. I think he's just there for his own.
Like web news?
Yeah, I think he's just there for his own like gossip column.
Right.
This gossip blog.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's not a reporter.
I wouldn't think so.
No, because I think that he does stuff after that. We're at the vigil,
Right.
Where I think he's like, nah, he's not a reporter.
So we haven't even got to the vigil. We still have still more Roy
on the gas.
I know. So then the next day, Roy hears that a bat roosting area has been disturbed. So he and Nina put on their wellies and grab the world's 2 cleanest spades.
Yeah.
And head on out there.
Yeah.
And they come back a few hours later, muddy and dirty, with garbage bags full of something.
Like, what are they bringing back from there?
And
trash, I guess they said they're picking up.
Yes. Okay. And then the police are waiting for them.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, what the hell? Picture on social media of Roy out in the middle of nowhere in the woods digging a hole.
Excellent graphic, by the way.
Yes. And
font.
And so after all this, Roy then decides he should indeed still go to the vigil.
But let's wait for a second before you get that further, because the cops pick him up. Swain picks him up after he gets back from cleaning up the bat area. And he's got mud all over his boots, all over his hands and stuff. He's got muddy shovels with Nina and bags of we don't know what.
Yeah.
And they suspect, like, they look at him as if it's very suspicious. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This is a little suspect. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're going to come down. He's like, and Nina's like, can you get changed? And they're like, no, he just has to go right now.
Yeah.
And then he just hands her the shovel and goes down.
And the garbage.
Like, what kind of cops are these?
Yeah.
Check the condom wrapper. And also maybe take the bag of evidence.
Yeah. Or at least take a peek in to see.
Yeah. Take a look to see if there's something on the shovel.
I agree. So then Roy decides to go to the vigil, but now everybody has seen the picture of him in the middle of the woods with the shovel.
Killer on it.
Yeah. Yes. And the crowd recognize him. Some of the crowd recognize him, and they start, harassing him.
Haranguing.
And then he makes everything even worse.
Yeah.
He says that nobody understands the special relationship he and Lauren had.
Yeah.
She was a very pretty girl.
Oh.
She was his friend.
Oh.
And again, I think we as viewers have to keep an open mind. You never know.
Well,
do I think it's Roy? No. However, it's good to keep these suspicions open, because what happened to her? Because
you said he made a joke. You were pointing that out. What was that? What did
no, that's for the
for your favorite moments,
our
right?
new segment at the end.
Okay, well then you'll have to wait for my point.
Okay. And now we're going to talk about our last person we're going to talk about is the instigator of many of this week's problems, Max.
Instigator of many problems, period.
Yeah. So Max went to see Lauren's dad in jail, unbeknownst to David.
On its own, that's fine, because Lauren is missing.
Yeah.
He knows her dad, even though he's a bad dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. He wants to go in and see if there's anything like, oh, wait a minute, maybe he knows.
But he's allowed to just go do that?
Well, he's got to ask for a visitation.
So he's the ex-boyfriend of the girl that's missing. And he gets gone to see her dad who's in prison.
Nobody says anything about it?
They used to be co-white supremacists together.
This is the kind of thing the Tink should be all over.
He's not there.
He's not even there.
Nope.
Where's he?
I don't know. Replaced by the other guy.
Tenerife.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. And so that's why those thugs showed up to threaten Roy, is because Max told Lauren's dad about all this, and about how Roy had been taken in for questioning.
Yeah.
So that's Max's fault. He also let Daniel's work know that Daniel had been taken in for questioning about the disappearance and presumed murder of this young girl.
Dastardly, I thought.
And so he'd let Daniel's work know. Also, Daniel had said that some kid in his class was like chirping him about it. Mm-hmm. So obviously Max had let a kid there know about it as well.
Yeah.
And Daniel was telling Max he doesn't know. Daniel was telling Bethany he doesn't know why Max always has it in for him. Yeah. He's just always had it in for him. He doesn't know why. He's never done anything to him. And Bethany points out that he did push him down the stairs.
That's true.
And Daniel says, that was ages ago. I thought we were over that.
I did like that a lot.
Max, the cause of most of this week's problems.
Exactly.
Apart
Let's get
from
to your new
the
segment,
murderer.
Shannon.
Okay, my new segment is favorite moments. So, if you go to our link at weatherfield.ca, which will lead you to our Substack, and if you subscribe to Substack, it's free.
Mm,
But if you subscribe, then you can comment.
that's right.
And there's a bunch of people who have been commenting, and it's great.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to tell you two of my favorite moments, and then in the comments, I'd like to hear other people's favorites. So one of them is David. Leanne was telling David she'd run into Debbie earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and David said, "Oh, was she carrying her handbag like this?" Because Debbie does.
She does.
I don't know how things don't fall out.
She does it so quickly.
I don't know how she doesn't knock out someone behind her on occasion.
Yeah.
But I appreciated that. The other was when Roy was telling Carla and Nina that he has a 7 p.m. curfew now that he's out on bail. And he said, "There goes my cabaret career." I thought that would land better.
Which I brought up to you. As you had said, maybe that shows a different side of Roy. Maybe we don't know Roy as well as we thought we knew Roy. I don't want to doubt Roy. Listen, Roy, if you're listening, I believe you. And I don't think that you did anything ne'er-do-well, but maybe.
Yeah. So anyways, those are my two. I'm enjoying that recently they've had some more small moments of humor in there, as opposed to like it felt like they used to a few years ago. You might have like they'd put on a pantomime on the street or something, and that was supposed to be your lighthearted whatever.
No, I like the jokes.
I like the little.
Yeah, David's been really good recently too. He's got some good zingers in and stuff.
Yeah,
and
Shona's
been great. It's all been good.
Yeah.
It's all been good. Well, that's pretty good.
Has a lot of stuff.
I know you do. Your notes are exhaustive. You should show those to the
exhausting.
People. Look at that. Look at these notes. Look at these notes.
Pages.
Just one page.
Yeah.
There's 12 more pages.
There's
like
not
that.
12. It feels like it.
Yeah, there you go. So thank you so much for listening and or watching. And make sure you do subscribe at weatherfield.ca. As Shannon mentioned, it's free. And if you subscribe, you can comment, get into the conversation. There's a nice little group of people growing there, which is good.
Yeah.
We're small but mighty.
Exactly.
It's pretty good. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
And if you have any Coronation Street fans, make sure to tell them about the podcast.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Pull the lever, Kronk.
Do the theme. It is so good.
Well, can I just say I'm glad that finally at least Violet knows. And now, I'm going to have to find someone else to rent that room out. I don't even know what sort of state Dylan's left it in.
That's good. It's a good Eileen because you've got the hand on the chest.
That's because you have to keep your heart in because it's just beating from all the stuff that you have to think about.
That was my stew. That was not bad. Thanks so much for listening and watching. We'll see you next week.